Oh, sorry. That's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready. Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This will allow me to report. Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. I'm on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded it to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, it's real easy. Just go to Reaver.one. That's REAVER.ONE as I get a tongue twister and screw myself up. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? It's going to be one of those days. I just know it. Now, you can also go to YouTube and check it out. Just search for SHR Media. And don't forget to hit subscribe. All the great shows that are here on SHR Media. All right. We're going to get on with the show. And I'm going to discuss a little bit Charlottesville, what happened, and my opinions on it. But that'll be later. That will be later on in the show. It's not a black and white issue. I hate to use that term for this, but yeah, it's not a black and white issue just to say this side's right, that side's wrong. But PETA is going to a new level. PETA, if you don't know who they are, is the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. This animal rights group says dairy cows are raped. Dairy cows are raped to produce milk. The organization attempts to equate artificial insemination of farm animals to women being raped and human trafficking sex crimes. Is forcibly and involuntary violated sexually, it's called rape. PETA posted on their website announcement of a propaganda video. When animals on factory farms are forcibly and involuntarily violated sexually, it's called artificially insemination. Female cows, pigs, turkeys are routinely raped. Their bodies are violated through artificial insemination. What? See, this is why most of these groups cannot be taken seriously. And if you ask why, it's because they take it too far. They go too far with it. They take an idea of protecting animals, make sure they're treated properly, and then they go to this extreme and say that the animals are being raped. They're being raped because they're artificially inseminated. Oh my God. Why? Why? Oh, boy. The organization attempts to equate crimes against women to farming procedures necessary to provide food to people worldwide. PETA claims farmers use rape racks to artificially inseminate dairy cows to keep them producing milk. They claim the term rape rack is an industrial term. However, a Google search of the term only brings up animal rights websites claiming it is an industrial term. A dairy farmer and mother from Vermont told National Review there is no such thing as a rape. Checking out the video feeds. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Just interrupted. What the hell? Oh, boy. I think there's something up with Facebook right now. So if you're watching through Facebook Live, I apologize. Something is going on with the feed. Because I was watching some Facebook Live protests that are going on in New York City and some other stuff that's going on around the world. And it was real choppy. I couldn't get a good Facebook Live broadcast from anybody. So I don't know if my internet's all fudged up or Facebook is just not running right. And I think Facebook is not running right because it's been a couple other people I know of. So, all right. We'll get back to talking about how cows are raped to produce milk, cheese, and so forth. And they say that a rape rack is a industrial term, but when you talk to dairy farmers and you Google it, it does not come up. That's a term created by vegan/animal activist, the dairy farmer. YouTube link. Okay. Let me see if I. Shnikes. Here, let me see if I could do this. Actually, I'm going to send it to you, Jenna. And it should be sent to you in private message on Facebook. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm watching my stream from YouTube, and it's looking pretty good. Facebook just, I think there's something with Facebook right now. I really do. So, I'm going to get back at it. And hopefully you got it, Jenna. If you, it would be better. But the Texas Agricultural Commissioner, Sid Miller, said there is no such term as rape racket in the dairy industry. When you artificially inseminate a cow, there is little to no pain. Pregnancy makes the cow produce less milk, and they stop giving milk altogether when they reach 2 or 3 months into their term. It is a common practice to perform the procedure while the cow are eating their feed. Most don't even stop eating. For the Michigan Agricultural Environmental Insurance Program, told the National Review that farmers use artificial insemination to prevent cows from being injured or damaged while being mounted by 1,500 to 1,800 pound bull. That's a pretty goddamn big bull to be mounting on top of it and going to town. Bulls are very large and close to a ton when fully grown, she explained. An average cow is 1,005 to 1,008, so a bull mounting a cow can cause damage to the cow since he's so large. I was watching a program on in 10 years from now, what would happen to everything if all of a sudden the human race, there was no, okay, this is going to, just the human race vanishes. Boom, gone. And it said there's only one animal that would die off immediately because it needs such large amount of human interaction. Cows. Cows, they said, would die off in less than a week because they would need help from the humans to survive. I don't know if they're going to die off as a species. I'm pretty sure they're going to figure out how to survive real quick. The animals have a better instinct than humans do. But it also said the one that'll last the longest is an alligator, because it technically only needs to eat once a year. Now, where most of them would die off are the ones in captivity, and the water that they were in would become so tainted with fecal matter and urine that it would be poison to them. Nature would be pretty doing pretty good. They would be pretty survivable. So just stupid trivia for everybody there. But this cattle rape hypocrisy came back to the surface following a PETA campaign in Wimbledon, where PETA flaunted bikini-clad women to promote vegan cream and non-dairy treats. The British newspaper reported one Twitter user's reaction: "I fail to see what benefit some 70s-style sexism has for animal rights. Has this approach ever actually convinced anyone to go vegan?" National Review writer expressed her disgust at PETA's effort to equate legitimate farming practice to women being raped. Of course, this is just one example of the left reflex to isms, every thought, comment, or action. I also think this, why I brought this up, because I find it funny, but number two, this actually hurts rape victims, because equating the terms together, most adults, mature adults, understand what artificial insemination is with animals and know it is not equal to rape. So when they start getting that meshed, it'll start to, the term rape will start to lose its effectiveness. Sort of how right now we have racism. You get called a racist. It's lost some of its power, because Democrats and liberals have been screaming racism and calling everybody racist that disagrees with them for so long. It's lost its oomph. It doesn't have that same negative connotation. Most people are whatever. Even after this weekend, it still doesn't have the power. So when they do this, they're actually weakening, the actual term rape, and people will start to get desensitized to it after a while. Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw it, but we'll get to, terror attack term is being used too much also. I mean, the left is trying to desensitize us to that, so they try to link it to everything. But I will say this, and we're going to get in more later, but I will say this: I think what happened in Charlottesville was domestic terrorism. There was actions of violence taken to create fear, to sway political opinions. And we'll get into that later, because there was a lot of shit that happened this weekend, and, well, there's a lot of blame to go on. A lot of blame. So, the National Review writer went on to say, at the same time, it diminishes the very meaning of the word rape and equates a dairy cow being inseminated with your daughter being sexually assaulted. There's enough of a reason to do exactly the opposite of what PETA demands. Go order some extra cheese on that pizza. Got some extra cream in my coffee just for tonight. Now, I don't do this often. I really don't. Every now and then, when I'm going to pick up my daughter, I'll switch over and I'll listen to Rush for a little bit. It's not often I do it. If there's nothing playing good, I'll switch over just to hear what he has to say. It's not that I don't dislike Rush. I'm not a big fan of Rush. I'm not a hater of Rush. I try to stay away from all commentators like that, because I noticed when I was listening to certain commentators over and over again, subconsciously, I started to emulate them. I started to pick up some of their just how they report the news. So to keep myself, to keep it me, I try to stay off it. But what caught my ear is he was talking about that on thehill.com. He read an article where the former Mueller deputy on Trump's case, well, yeah, the former, okay, let me get this right. When Mueller was director of the FBI, his deputy, the guy's name was Phil Mudd. He's now a CNN counterterrorist analyst. So this guy worked in the government. He's worked as a CIA agent. He worked for the FBI when Mueller was the director. And on Thursday, he told host Jake Tapper, what the hell? I can't talk all of a sudden. He told host Jake Tapper that the government is going to kill President Donald Trump because he doesn't support them. Quote, let me give you one bottom line as a former government official, Mudd began. The government is going to kill this guy. Now, I always hear all the theories on why JFK was assassinated. And it always comes back to he pissed off the establishment. He was going to expose a lot of the dirty, underhanded nature of Washington, D.C. So that's why they had him killed off. So now this guy saying from his sources, basically that's what's going to happen. Now, Trump defend Vladimir Putin, their State Department, and the CIA officers are coming home. And what that is people are actually taking serious when Putin kicked out all those officials from Russia over the sanctions. Trump, being a smartass that he is, and to try to one-up Putin, said, thanks for doing that. You're saving us a bunch of money. Well, now some of these people actually think Trump is being serious and thanking him. When it's a backhanded comment, he's not actually thanking him, but he's trying to say, don't bother me. You just saved me a lot of money. Well, supposedly these State Department CIA officers are coming home. They're all pissed because they think Trump doesn't back them. And at Langley and in Foggy Bottom at the State Department headquarters, CIA in the state, they're saying, this is how you defend us. We saw the same thing in this transgender comment. What is the military saying to him on transgender? Show us the policy. You know what that means inside government? Ain't going to happen. What did the Department of Justice say on Paul Manafort? You could say what you want. A judge told us we have cause to search his home early in the morning because we don't trust the guy who was your campaign manager. But people, I just can't believe they actually think Trump meant that as an honest comment, like thank you, not a smart ass backhanded comment. When they make stupid comments or jokes, everything's a goddamn joke when it backfires on them. I thought I saved this. Sorry, I'm trying. I thought there was a sound bite for this. Let me see something real quick. That's right. I don't think I saved that. Give me 1 second. I'm unprepared again. Oh, man. Sorry about this. I could have swore I saved it. Shouldn't be that hard. Videos. Here it is. All right, let me play the sound clip for you. Hopefully there's no commercial that pops up. All right. And this is on CNN's Jake Tapper, excuse me. God damn it. Can't speak. All right, come on. Fucking internet's wacky. I've never seen the internet this bad.
As an excuse. And I think other people should press him for a better answer.
What was your response, Phil Nutt?
A couple surprises. Let me give you one bottom line. As a former government official, government's going to kill this guy. He defends Vladimir Putin. Their State Department and CIA officers are coming home. And at Langley and at Foggy Bottom, CIA and State, they're saying, this is how you defend us? We saw the same thing in his transgender comments. What is the military saying to him on transgender? Show us the policy. You know what that means inside government? Ain't going to happen. What did the Department of Justice say on Paul Manafort? You can say what you want. A judge told us we had cause to search his home early in the morning because we don't trust the guy who was your campaign manager. Government's going to kill this guy because he doesn't support him.
What's interesting also, his comments about Paul Manafort, the campaign chair, about the fact that on July 26th, there was this early morning FBI raid on his home. According to ABC News, they actually went into his home and knocked on his bedroom door, not knocked on the front door. And you do this when you are worried that people are going to get rid of documents. The president's remarks were that Paul Manafort's a good man. He hasn't talked to him in a long time. That was a very aggressive action. He
kind of intimated it was too aggressive. It was like they'd gone too far. His words are what they are. It's interesting. If I had a campaign manager where the FBI was knocking on the door, meaning they have probable cause or a lot of evidence to get a judge to agree to that, I think a normal act would be, what does Paul Manafort have that I don't know about, versus the FBI may well be in the wrong. I mean, it's another instance in which it doesn't seem like he's trying to get to the bottom of what's happened here. He's really trying to push back against the investigation.
And Phil, before I want to ask you a question, but Phil, just to reiterate, obviously, when you're talking about killing, you're using that as a metaphor. You're not talking about. I just.
What I'm saying is government. People talk about the deep state. When you disrespect government officials who done 30 years, they're going to say, "Really? You send Vladimir Putin?"
You take that for what you want to take it as. That makes me question. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying capitalist, stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. It is expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, it's simple. Well, there are a couple different ways you can go. You can go to Reaver.1, our TV button, or you can go to YouTube and search SHR Media. While you're there, Jenna, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. God damn it, I got a sniffly nose. When you hit the subscribe button, you will keep up to date of all the SHR Media shows and get updates whenever there's a new one coming out, and they come out daily. Our lineup has expanded so greatly. We have so many live shows. It's unbelievable, and we're still growing. We're still getting bigger. So I saw this one, and I had myself a good laugh. I had myself a great laugh. Because Trump is hang on, why is that doing that? Trump went after China. And there's still a negotiation with China going on. So they're kind of backing down to us right now. And then North Korea starts its shit. And now what does China do? This is bigger than most people lit on. This is bigger than liberal media wants to lit on. North Korea's patron in Beijing appears paralyzed by conflicting strategic priorities during the current crisis. Although the Communist Party, Oregon Global Times, did publish an editorial declaring that China would remain neutral if North Korea starts a war, but intervene on North Korea's behalf if the U.S. and South Korea attempt a preemptive strike. I was saying, Jenna, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Basically what this does, if North Korea launches on us or any of our protected countries, China's not going to do anything. China's not going to back them. China's not going to get involved. Only if we do a preemptive strike will they get involved. And they said, basically, and we'll get more in the article, but basically, if we go and try to take out Kim Jong-un, they'll get involved. Otherwise, if North Korea starts this like they keep threatening, they're like, yep, you guys are on your own. You are on your own, which that is a big difference than what's been going on for years now. Because for years, it was no matter what North Korea did, China backed them. And no other president has been able to get China into this stance. Bill Clinton couldn't. Bush couldn't. Obama sure as hell couldn't. Trump, in 6 months, 7 months, all of a sudden, China is backing down and not backing North Korea. But yet, we're supposed to believe Trump's doing so bad. And Trump doesn't. And Trump is supposedly not doing good with Korea. Yeah. The Chinese government may eventually seek some diplomatic wiggle room by insisting the Global Times is but a newspaper printing an editorial, and the piece is written in a style of newspaper editorial lecturing officials about what they should do. But few outside observers would be willing to pretend that China's state-run media is anything but a mouthpiece for its authoritarian government. The Washington Post is among many media outlets that regards Global Times editorial as an official message directed at North Korea. To the extent that anything about the current standoff can be taken as humorous, it is amazing to read the Global Times portraying North Korea as an aggressive party taking a desperate gamble to propel the U.S. to negotiate with it, as if the civilized world has not indulged North Korea with decades of negotiation. And that's the other thing that really pissed me off, and I think I went off on it Thursday or Friday. We keep hearing, we need to use diplomacy. We need to use diplomacy. That's all we've been doing is diplomacy. And this is what goes on. This has happened with Iran and North Korea. They go in fucking mouth. We give them billions of dollars. They go quiet for a while. All of a sudden, let's say it's North Korea that chimes up first. Then Iran chimes in. Iran, North Korea shortly after will chime in again. We have been given billions of dollars to these two countries to keep them pacified like little kids at the expense of us taxpayers. Maybe it's time. Goddamn time we had a president like Trump that stood up and said no more. No more money. He's not going directly to war. He does want to go. They've already sanctioned North Korea even more. So he's not being a warmonger, but he's not going to sit here and keep getting blackmailed by North Korea. And we've allowed it for how many decades now? We've allowed it to happen. We've allowed China to push us around. So it's about time we finally stood up to them and gave the big middle finger. I don't think North Korea is going to push the button. He is not that stupid, because here's a little something everybody's all worried about. Every time he goes to launch test fire, every time they test fire, they pick up a little red phone and they call the other nations, even the United States, and they say, we're making a test fire. Because if there was a missile that went up without anybody knowing, that would be a declaration of war right there. So we know every time those missiles have gone off there in the media, well, we don't have confirmation and we don't know if we knew. Yeah, we knew every single time. And I can't believe there's so many people that fall for that. Well, we couldn't know. Yeah, we do know. So I don't see North Korea, no matter how fucking crazy Kim Jong-un is. I mean, he's pretty crazy that his uncle fell asleep in a meeting. A big general fell asleep in a meeting. Big whoop. You know, you dock him some pay, you knock him down on rank, you know, something like that. No, his punishment was he was put. He was put. And it's his uncle he put in front of an anti-aircraft gun and put him to death for falling asleep. That's how crazy this guy is, but I don't think he's dumb enough. You know, when he had big bad China backing up, he could run his mouth. You know, he's like that, and I've used this example before. He's like that little runt in the bar that's always running his mouth because he's got the big bad friend backing him up. Well, now he's learning his big bad friend is not going to back him up as much. Pick a fight with him in the bar. But if he takes a swing, his big bad buddy's not going to be there to protect him. His big bad buddy's getting tired of it. China, for all their communism, they're a little bit more worried about capitalism right now. They're having this economical boom in China, and a war because of North Korea would hurt on multiple grounds, because you would also have a mass refugee issue where all those North Korea people will be running out into China and into Russia, and they don't want that. So they want to keep the peace. They want to keep a communist dictator in there, but they want to keep the peace. They don't want to see war. They don't want to see it because that would not be good. So I think Trump's playing this great. He's playing it, you know, powerful. And he's holding all the cards because China needs to, if Trump declares them, and he's still holding that card. People thought he had to do it. He used it as a negotiation of declaring China a currency manipulator. But now he has it where they're renegotiating stuff with us, and it's going to give the power back to us. There's going to be fair trade. You even have Schumer saying he's closer to trade with Trump than he was with Obama. It's, we already have also Japan has put up Patriot missiles and a bunch of other anti-aircraft weapons, and they've already said if anything was fired in our direction, Japan can intercept it on us. So if you're sitting there worried about an attack from Korea, don't. It's really, that one doesn't bother me. That one doesn't worry me. I don't see an issue popping up. So it's all good with China or North Korea. But it's amazing how so many of the left are jumping up and protecting North Korea. They're protecting a communist, crazy dictator. They're picking him over our own leader. That's what really amazes me. I can't believe so many have done that. It's showing you where their loyalty lies. It's amazing. And Reuters finds China angry and frustrated that its peacemaking efforts have not diffused the crisis, noting that one of the factors in Beijing's lackluster response is a curiosity that seems to have taken both the foreign ministry press shop and President Jinping off stage for a few weeks. An Asian diplomat also reminded Reuters that China is involved in a rather odd border dispute with India at the moment. A story flying under the radar for a foreign observer, but apparently a priority for the Chinese foreign policy establishment. Other Chinese priorities suggested by Australia's ABC include restless something Muslim, resurgent nationalism in Taiwan, and China's claim in the South China Sea. China's got its hands full with a lot of different stuff. So North Korea could be pissing it off. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplansdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catholics do it, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. As those watching the video got me watch, check the sharpness of a blade real quick. Yes, I get bored in between the breaks. Very easy. Simple mind, simply amused. Expansion is here. We have expanded by 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, it's easy. Just go to Reaver.one. That's REAVER.ONE. And click on the SHR TV button. It's that simple, people. It's simple. So simple, a liberal can do it. Still trying to teach my mom how to do it, though. Oh, she hears that one. She'll bitch slap me. So, everybody, now, you know how I feel about the approval ratings. I think they're very tainted. But it's funny when you have the left-leaning approval ratings, and he jumps, I think it's 6 points. And he's up to 45% in the days following the president suggesting U.S. military action against North Korea. A poll released Friday shows Trump's approval rating increased from 39% last week, according to a daily presidential tracking poll by conservative-leaning Romson's report. The president approval rating is now at 37, according to nonpartisan Gallup polls, with a new report scheduled for Monday. Trump's predecessor, former Barack Obama, had an approval rating of 54% at roughly the same point in this history. And when you look at these polls, you could very easily see where they have a heavily influence of Democrat and independent in the polls. There's a heavy amount towards that compared to the Republican. So, yeah, never trust the polls. But this one, has him jumping 6 points in a couple of days for his reaction to North Korea, which shows the American people approved of his actions, or I should say his verbal actions. And he threatened a missile strike on this was after North Korea leader Kim Jong-un threatened a missile strike on nearby island of Guam, a U.S. territory with an American Army base, and Trump responded Tuesday by saying that such action would be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power the likes of which this world has never seen before. Hate when stuff gets stuck in this little foam thingy. In the ensuing days, Trump continued the tough talk, including him saying the United States is locked and loaded, despite calls for him to tone down such rhetoric to avoid a war. Romson's report also showed 53% of likely voters disapprove of Trump's job performance. The polls are based on phone and online surveys of 500 likely voters at night, and a daily number reflects a 3-day rolling average. But again, you've got to look at the fine print of how many Republicans, how many Democrats, and how many independents. And it's very important you do look at the independents, because the independents are a heavily left-leaning group. So I'm not saying all of them are, but they know, they know how to lean it. I mean, these are the same polls that had Trump losing big time and Hillary Clinton winning. So, I mean, how much do you really want to believe these polls? But it's funny when they jump 6 points. Some things are hard to cover up. So Democratic attorneys escalate legal fight against Trump. Yep. It's getting ridiculous. The Trump resistance movement cheered when Democrat attorney generals in several states sued to block the presidential's plan to bar travelers from some Muslim majority countries. But with far less fanfare in the months since, an emboldened coalition of Democrat state attorney generals has unleashed a torrent of lower profile litigation they argue is necessary to protect public health, the environment, and consumers from a Republican White House. Now, think of this, what this is going to do, because when we get a Democrat president, you are going to see Republican state attorney generals start suing on a daily basis on everything the Democrat president does. You're going to see it a tit for tat now. It's getting ridiculous with this. States attorneys from Massachusetts to New York to California, often working together, have brought more than 40 legal actions against Trump's administration over the last 7 months. The pace, which both parties describe as unprecedented, has produced an average of one lawsuit or legal motion every 5 days since Trump's inauguration, not including many more letters, legal threats, and formal comments to federal agencies. Donald Trump and his administration has been out there in ways that are illegal, that are unprecedented, that don't seem to understand some of the basics of the rule of law. That was from Massachusetts Attorney General Haley. It's required constant vigilance from day one. And I love how they always say it's unprecedented. Unprecedented. Yeah. Because it sounds important, but means jack shit. All right, seriously, it means nothing. It's unprecedented. That's how things become precedent, by people doing it, you jackass. The White House did not respond to a request for comment, but the frequency and variety of the legal challenges from cases, listen to this, from cases involving the energy efficiency of ceiling fans to gender reassignment surgeries at the Veterans Administration has sparked criticisms that Democrats may be playing politics with their state's legal resources. Their lawsuits over the energy efficiency of ceiling fans. That is a big waste of money. Huge waste of money. Arkansas Attorney General, who chairs the Republican Attorney General Association, said she's increasingly concerned that her Democrat colleagues are using these lawsuits for grandstanding to challenge the president. I grow concerned that their intentions are not as pure as they should be. According to the Republican Attorney General, aggressively fought President Obama's moves on the environment, healthcare, and consumer protection during his 2 terms. Democrats acknowledge that the pace of their legal action is extraordinary, but they insist that they have been given little choice by an inexperienced Trump administration that they accuse of trying extraordinary steps to ignore the law. I love how that's the other thing. He's inexperienced. No experience. How much experience did Obama have? And they said, that doesn't matter. You don't need experience. Now, oh my God, he has no experience. Oh my God. Show me where that's a requirement. Please, someone fucking show me where that's a requirement. Our government, and it's supposed to be run by anybody, the people, not elites. Anybody should be able to run and win. But we don't see that, do we, people? We bring our cases based on the merits, and it's just that there's a lot of merits these days. No, it just goes against your communist ideology. There are things that don't get a lot of attention that could be tremendously harmful, according to the New York Attorney General. Yeah. Sure, whatever you say. Coming from the Attorney General that locks up legal citizens because they don't like guns. Follow the laws, and they still are locking people up. In mid-June, Democrat Attorney General from Maryland and Washington, D.C. filed a lawsuit claiming that Trump violated the so-called immunization clause in the Constitution that bars members of the federal government from accepting money from federal governments. A day later, few noticed when a coalition of 11 Attorney General sued the Trump administration for delaying energy-efficient standards for common appliances like air conditioners and freezers. In early July, what the heck is my thing beeping at me now about? In early July, 19 Democrat attorney generals sued Department of Education Secretary Betsy DeVos for delaying a rule years in the making, intent to protect students from predatory lending related to for-profit college. That same day, 6 attorney generals intervened in another lawsuit against Trump's EPA for allowing the use of pesticides they said was linked to health problems in children. Just 24 hours later, Democrat attorney general from 14 states urged a court to overturn a class action settlement arranged by gun maker Remington trigger defects on rifles. And over the next 3 weeks, coalition of Democrat attorney generals sued the EPA for delaying implementation of rules related to chemical accidents, safety, and smog. Well, a lot of these delays, if the Democrats didn't drag out the confirmation process like they did, they dragged their feet as long as they can so they can do this to try to make it look like Trump's administration didn't know what they were doing. We're busy, California Attorney General said. It's been made easy by the Trump administration because of their lack of foresight in the way they have approached some of these things. Pennsylvania Attorney General estimate his office is involved with roughly 50 legal action against Trump administration. Aware that Trump won Pennsylvania in the last fall's election, he cast his aggressive steps in political terms. I would hope that I would never have to file another legal action against the federal government, the Trump administration, but that would require the Trump administration to follow the rule of the law. Jeez, I know. I'm not going to get into slinging mud. That just, oh my God. They're overplaying their hands. They are overplaying their hands. They're playing partisan politics. They're using people's tax money to do it because they still can't get over they lost a fucking election. They lost an election and they can't get over it. And that's what this is all over. In the short end of it, they lost an election. Miss Hillary Clinton didn't become president like they thought. They thought they had it locked up. They thought they had it on easy street. They thought they didn't have to try. They screwed themselves. And now they're trying to cause as many problems because they don't want, both right and left, do not want the people to know that you don't need politicians to run the country. Because they have this little ideology locked up that you have to be a politician to know what you're doing to run the government. Problem is, the politicians have made it so confusing. And basically the lawyers have. There's too many lawyers and they've too many regulations, too many rules, and it's just fucked things up. I'm not saying we need to start the country over, but it's almost like we need to step back, look at the rules, and start over because there's so many they interlock, overlap. 20 laws say the same goddamn thing. This one contradicts that one, and there's so many laws. Probably, God knows how many people have forgotten about. I mean, don't tell me we haven't, because there is laws we've forgotten about. Some states, it's illegal to have sex other than missionary position. Shit, we forgot that was on the books. It's illegal in some states to sleep with your girlfriend. It's here in Florida, there's a law that if you park your elephant, you must pay a parking meter. Come on. And there's ridiculous laws on the books. And there's probably there on the federal government that have made it so difficult to get anything done. And they like it like that because that means they don't have to do nothing. And we've seen it. McConnell doesn't want to do nothing. He wants to drag shit out. He wants it nice and slow. He doesn't want to do anything. He wants to run his mouth, make it seem like he's doing something, make it look like he's doing good for the American people without actually doing anything, so he can't be blamed for anything. McCain promised and campaigned on repeal. Repeal came about. What did he do? Stabbed us right in the back and sided with the liberals. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and hyphensdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catherine is stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm looking to, well, make sense out of the senseless. And how you doing, Dan? Hopefully you're doing good and your wife is doing good. So, Dershowitz was saying that Trump has more credibility on North Korea than Obama. Saturday on Fox News Channel, Fox and Friend, Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz gave his critique on how President Donald Trump was handling the threat from North Korea. He noted at this point, Trump has more credibility than his predecessors, Barack Obama, given how Obama handled the Syria situation. One hopes that the president is not doing what President Obama did years ago when he created a red line with Syria and then it failed to comply. I think that probably Donald Trump, President Trump at this point, has more credibility. I suspect he's believed because he's so unpredictable. We saw today that North Korea responded in kind, so it's hard to second guess. Some presidents have taken a position of speak softly and carry a big stick. That was Teddy Roosevelt. Although can forcefully and loudly, and it really depends on the situation. So I'm going to wait and see how it plays out before trying to second guess. What I don't like is Congress coming in now and trying to pass legislation precluding the president from taking military action if necessary. That actually blunts any presidential impact, and I think it interferes with the president's right as commander-in-chief to make decisions affecting the national security of the United States. So these are tough questions, difficult times. I think we need to take a deep breath and wait to see how it plays out. And I think Congress needs to take a step back, stop worrying about trying to politic for the elections in 2018, and let it play out. There's only so much he can do to stop thinking that's where it's going to go. They're thinking the worst. Just sit back a little bit, take a deep breath. All most people are thinking about is how are they going to win 2018? And that's all they're worried about when they run out for sound bites. And that's what a lot of politicians do nowadays. They're not actually out there to make statements on the national security. They're out there to give a soundbite that they can hopefully play during their election. They know nothing is going to go on. Everybody. Everybody. I know that. I'm dumb as dog shit, and I know nothing's going to go on. Trying to get money out of us right now. That's what's happened the last several decades. They run their mouth, yip, 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 yip. We give them a couple $1 billion, the way they go. Well, Trump's not going to do that. And North Korea is not in a position that it can start a major war. They know that. They know they can. They know the moment they launch, they're done with. The worst is, and it is a bad situation, but South Korea gets taken out. Now, fallout from everything spreads in the area. But for the most part, South Korea gets taken out. And that's a big thing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that big of a thing. So politicians here, no, nothing's going to happen. All they're going out there and doing is trying to run their mouths to get sound bites for their election. Oh, I stood up to Trump. I did this to Trump, and I did that to Trump. I stood up to the president. Oh, I tried putting a thing in there that he couldn't use the military. Chest thumping. That's what a lot of what's going on nowadays is chest thumping. They're trying to get sound bites. They're trying to sound good. So come election time, they could roll a clip. Trump's doing the right thing. He's not backing down for Korea. He's not going to war right now. But when you go into negotiations, when you go to negotiate anything, you got to have the power of everything and be willing to. And have the other party think you're going to. And that's the big thing. North Korea has to believe that Trump is crazy enough he would hit that button. But when you have our politicians running their mouths like they are denutting him in these negotiations. Why? Because they're sitting, oh, well, we're going to take the power away from him using the military. And you got Kim Jong. Look at that. They're not going to let him use all the toys. I could use them. I could tell everybody what to do. You know, Congress sometimes needs to know when to speak up, and sometimes they know when to shut the fuck up. Just because you have the ability to speak doesn't mean you always need to speak. And that's something everybody needs to learn sometimes, media included. When it's time to step up and speak, and other times when it's time to shut the hell up. I'm dumbfounded. I want to play a couple minutes. Tucker Carlson was up speaking to I think it's a IAFF firefighters union. And some of the things he says is just great. And I got to replay this just because I can.
You can't, by the way, you cannot overstate the degree to which Republicans in D.C. hate Donald Trump. I mean, they really hate him. D.C. is overwhelmingly the city of where I live and have lived most of my life. They're, it's an overwhelmingly, what is it? 94% for Hillary, something like that. Every Prius on my street has an Obama sticker on it, okay? I mean, they come that way from the factory, but they haven't taken them off. But and so of course they hate Trump because they're like, wow, who is this guy? The Republicans hate him more. Idi Amin would get a warmer welcome in our dog park, okay, than Donald Trump would, were he to venture into Northwest DC, which, being wise, he will not. And the reasons are obvious. He's a threat not just to their vision of the country, but to the sinecures they hold, to the sort of high-wage, low-work jobs, to the inside deal that they have. The drain the swamp stuff, they hated that above all. And it was a huge part of the reason Trump won.
Yeah.
I mean, D.C., you know how you know D.C. is corrupt? Because it's a great city to live in. I'm serious. We're the richest city in America. And that's obvious. Why wouldn't we be? We make innovative products. The world wants to buy. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I got us confused with the real city. No, we're the richest city because government spends more than it ever has, and we take the vig. Some of it sticks to us. And then we distribute it to our friends. It's the definition of corruption. You have full employment. Have you wandered around? There's a construction crane in every corner. All the kids are happy. It's like Lake Wobegon. Everybody's impressive. Everyone's in a great mood. I've never been to lunch here that lasted less than 2 hours, and I've never paid. That's what it's like.
I want to go live there.
By the way, I mean, I'm not attacking it. I love it. I'm never leaving. Why would I? And I recommend to all of you that you move here immediately because it's great. But why wouldn't the rest of the country, a country in which the middle class is literally dying, that's real. I'm not a left-winger, by the way. I know I sound like some French philosopher, but I'm not a left-winger. I've always been a right-winger. But that's what the data show. And by the way, have you been there? It's true. And so why wouldn't the rest of the country look on at this and say, that's disgusting. The people may be nice, but this is unfair. This is wrong. That's the lesson that the Republican Party should have learned from this and really learned it, not just mouthed the bumper sticker.
I've said it. They did not learn any lessons from any introspection. They got overtaken by Trump.
Instead, they decided that it's all about Trump. Now, just to being totally fair, Trump thinks it's all about Trump too. That's true. Sorry. He does. He thinks everything's about him. And if you were to ask Trump, like, why did you get elected? He would say, I'm a great guy. I spent 1.5 years on the road covering this. Totally changed my politics, totally changed my view of America, just getting out there, as traveling places and talking to people always does change you, which is why you should do it. But in that year and a half, I never met a single person who said, I'm voting for Trump because just the kind of guy I want to babysit my kids. You know what I mean? Or like, I'm leaving for the weekend, I want him to stay with my wife and balance my checkbook while I'm gone. Like that's him. I said, I was kind of on the fence about Trump till I saw that Access Hollywood tape. And then I thought, he's speaking to me. Not one person said anything like that. And I met thousands of people who were voting for Trump. I called the election early because I just met because I kind of could see what this was about. It was never about him. Represented. It was about what he was saying. Actually, in some ways, it was about the issues, too. He was bringing up issues that nobody ever talked about in D.C.
Bingo.
Immigration and trade. And by the way, I'm not taking a position on either one. I'm just telling you that in Washington, we never debated either issue, ever. Not one time. I've never heard anybody
And so many Americans are talking about that, and they refuse to.
We debate things that the law of the sea treaty is like a huge debate here. I'm not even sure what it is. And we debate it. But no one ever debates immigration and trade, which is a little weird because they're big issues. Immigration determines who comes into your country.
Because everybody was afraid to be on the wrong side.
That's not a small thing. Trade determines wealth generation. These are big issues. Why were they never debated?
Basically, they didn't want to debate it because nobody wanted to be on the wrong side. Everybody was afraid that they were going to pick the wrong side of the argument. Trump came in and he kind of forced the hand of which way we're going with it. And now the Democrats are on the one side and the Republicans, well, most of the Republicans are on the other side because Trump forced them to it. But guess what? Who's winning that argument so far? Republicans are winning it. Overwhelmingly, people are supporting Trump on his immigration policies. On the wall, on lowering immigration, on stopping illegal immigration. He's winning it. And that's why nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about a lot of the issues, trade and all that, because they were afraid to be on the wrong side of the conversation. Because most of them would hang another one out. As soon as they saw something bad happening, they would slit your throat in a heartbeat. That's why no one ever talked about it.
Because nobody disagreed on them. That's why. There was a bipartisan consensus that both were good, but there was no downside to either one, and more of them was always better. And we should have realized that was untrue because that's never true. Nothing is all good, by the way. There's not one thing in the world that's all good. Everything is a mixed blessing. By the way, if you wake up one morning and something is all good, there's no downside, you are dead. You have gone to a better place. But in this temporal world, the best you can do is finding something that's more good than bad, and you hope to go with that rather than the reverse. But that's as good as you're going to get. But in those two issues, we here in Washington told the rest of the country they're great. And they're not only great for us, which is definitely true. It has more housekeepers than ever before. But they're good for all of you. It's all good for everybody. That was a lie. We oversold. It doesn't mean trade is bad. It doesn't mean immigration is bad. I'm for trade and I'm for immigration, for whatever it's worth. One gets hurt by our policies is insane. It's dishonest. And people finally started to figure it out.
Trade and immigration has its place. It's how many people you bring in, what type of people you bring in. Trade, it depends on what we get and what we put out. You know, if we're sending out penny items that cost a penny, but we're bringing in $1,000 items, who's losing out? We are. Same with trade. If you're bringing in a lot of low-wage people and you're bringing them in by the boatload, well, that's going to hurt our economy, as we saw. That's exactly what happened. I'm not against immigration, but we need to have the right numbers of immigration. We have to have the right. Trying to think. If you want to come in the country, we need to bring in people that would make the country better. Sometimes we might need the low-end workers. Okay, and when we're talking about, they're saying some fields are getting hurt. Okay, so we bring in more of, let's say, just for sake of argument, those that are willing to pick the fruits and vegetables. Okay, we're going to bring in a larger amount of that group. They're going to come in here legally. They're going to have to be paid the proper wages. Okay, they're going to come in on a temporary visa. When the season's done, they go back home. Okay, well, we don't need that many. Americans are starting to take that job. All right, but we need some software engineers. Okay, well, we bring in the software engineers, so forth and so on. It's that simple. It really is that simple, people. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying capitalist to it, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays 2 ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. till, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, man, I can't believe I screwed that up. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. I got to play this. I just came across just the title, White People Should Die. Tucker Carlson takes on liberal professor. I got to play this with everything that's going on. I got to.
But the professors are still on the job, some of them, and some of them are still bonkers. At Montclair State University, a professor has just been fired after saying he wants both President Trump and Senator John McCain to die. Meanwhile, at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, the school is losing both students and money thanks to a faculty member who said that white people should die. Cabot Phillips is media director at campusreform.org, and he joins us tonight. Cabot, thanks a lot for coming on. You keep track of this stuff, so we don't need to go completely crazy of following it as carefully as you do. What's going on at Montclair State?
This is just another example of how, yes, professors have the right to say these outlandish things, but guess what? We, as their employers, aka taxpayers, have the right to hold them accountable. And this professor who said that Trump deserves a bullet in the head, John McCain needs to die because of his healthcare vote, he's now playing the victim card, saying they're restraining my academic freedom. Not realizing academic freedom is not some blanket thing that protects you from your employer holding you accountable for your phrases and things that you're saying on social media. And also, it's important to remember, these are professors. These are people molding our next generation. They should be held to a higher standard than, repeating things sounding like the comment section of a Huffington Post article, okay? This is a professor we're talking about.
Well, it's just dumb. I mean, there's no, you know what I mean? It's not,
it's no
plenty of people reach conclusions I disagree with, but, they reach provocative conclusions. They're interesting, go die? Yeah. I mean, that's an academic debate now?
All right, not what I thought it was going to be, but still, it's goddamn ridiculous. The extremism from the left has gone absolutely nuts. So we're going to get to it right now. I'm going to skip over some stuff, and we're going to get to it. We all know a federal civil rights probe has been launched into the fatal Charlottesville crash. One person was killed, 19 more injured. There's a lot of questions on how this whole thing erupted. Now, I'm hearing not all of them were KKK. There was a group that was doing protesting against shutting down of the monument. Now, they did have a permit. And they did have a permit, which is kind of makes me go, why do you need a permit for free speech? I thought that was one of the things guaranteed. But, okay, that's for a different discussion. They had a permit. Now, the governor is a left-leaning lunatic liberal, same with the mayor. Now, even if it is the KKK and neo-Nazis that were the only ones that were doing the protest, as much as I disagree with what they have to say, I fucking hate what they have to say. Unfortunately, they have the right to say it. They have the First Amendment right to say it. That's been stated multiple times. It's Supreme Court ruled on it. They have the right to say it, whether I agree with it or not. And yes, I do disagree 100% with it before anybody tries to go that route. Now, they got the permits to go out there and do this protest. A federal court had to uphold it because the mayor yanked it or the governor yanked it, one or the other. Now, that morning, before it even started, the governor declared a state of emergency, had the police go in and shut down the protest before it even fucking started. Before it even started, it was shut down, even though they had the permits, which, you know, there's going to be a lawsuit over that. Now, where the big questions arise from there. Now, this was supposed to be a peaceful protest. It's got a little heavy-handed and breaking up before it even started. Now, what they did is instead of keeping everything separated, they pushed these protesters straight into Black Lives Matter and Antifa counter-protesters, which that erupted into violence right there. We know Antifa is very violent. They've used it on multiple occasions. They are violence personified. Backed out of there and let this ensue. Why is it? Why is it whenever there's protests and something like this that happens in a conservative area, the police keep everything calm? Why is it whenever it's in a liberal area, the police stand down? Can someone explain that to me? Why the police stood down? There's a lot of blame to go around, and I don't like any of this fucking racism, whether it's from the KKK, whether it's from BLM, whether it's from goddamn neo-Nazis or Antifa. They're all domestic terrorists. All those groups needed investigation into them. There was a peaceful protest planned. Again, whether I like what they have to say or not, they're allowed to fucking say it. What they have to say, they have a right to say it. And these groups went in looking for trouble. They went in there specifically for a fight. Now, there's questions about who this person is exactly, because I've heard from both sides. One says he's an Antifa. The other one says he's a white supremacist. Some are saying that he didn't intentionally drive into the crowd. There's video showing that he was attacked with a baseball bat while he was in a car. He hit the gas to escape. He ran into the crowd unintentionally. Some are saying he aimed right for the crowd. So many different variations of what's going on. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on. But what did happen is a mayor, a Democratic mayor, a Democratic governor, and a police chief allowed this to go on. They stood down again and allowed Antifa to go on to the offensive and start another goddamn riot. That is definitely 100% what happened. It pisses me off that they want Trump to go to the highest mountain and scream that he is not for the KKK and white supremacists. He has done it multiple goddamn times. They don't want to listen. He went out there again today and said he doesn't back him, and it's still not good enough for him. Nothing he does will be good enough for the fucking media. But the one thing I haven't heard is fucking Nancy Pelosi, Feinstein, Ellison, any of these goddamn Democrats have not condemned Antifa and their violence. Not once have they condemned Antifa. Where's the media making a big fucking fuss out of that? Antifa has started so many goddamn riots in the last year, and no one's held them to a standard. Democrat governments keep letting them get away with murder. They keep telling their police to stand down while Antifa goes and starts riots, beating people. One person dead and 19 injured. It's ridiculous. And the left is out, well, Trump's such a racist. He didn't condemn specifically the KKK. And David Duke came out and said, who the fuck cares what David Duke did? You know, all it takes is one of these assholes coming out and saying that they're doing it on the name of Democrats. Oh, no. You see, we're not involved. We didn't say we're involved, so you can't pin that on us. How about when a goddamn Bernie Sanders supporter went out and shot up a Republican baseball practice? We didn't hear shit over that. That was because a Democrat supporter shot up a Republican baseball practice. Ooh, the media went quiet on that. Now they want, well, Trump's a racist because David Duke said that he did this. I bet you we start really looking in. If an honest investigation got started and looked in, David Duke, the KKK, neo-Nazis, that was all a setup. That was all set up by the Democrats. Why? Because they got to come up with a new talking point. And a talking point of Trump is racist, going on Trump is bad. The Russia story is falling the fuck apart. Until something new comes up, they need something else to go, Trump bad. Because that's all this fucking party has. He has his Obamacare. We're for gay people. We're for the LGBTQRS community. We're against raping of cows. And Trump says mean things. Trump mean. That's all they are. They have no idea. They keep talking, well, we're going to be the party of a better economy, better jobs, better wages. How? Give me one example how you're going to do this shit. Because you sure as hell ran the wage. Oh, your idea of giving better wages. We're going to up the minimum wage. That's not going to help, assholes. That's not going to help. Because prices of everything are going to go up, and we're right back to where we started. Jackass. I'm just so sick of this shit that's going on. It's disgusting. I don't hear any of my liberal friends out there bitching about Antifa, starting the violence that happened. And again, I don't agree with what they said, what they say. They have freedom of speech to go out there. And maybe if the liberals weren't so dead set on hiding history and covering up Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee was against the separation. He was pretty much against what the South did, but because of where he was born, he felt necessary to lead. And I also seem to remember a government, a U.S. government, that pardoned, I think the correct word would be pardoned all Southern Confederate soldiers and gave them the same rights and benefits as a U.S. soldier. They got VA benefits when they got old enough. Confederate soldiers got United States VA benefits because they were pardoned and brought back into the family and said it was just a bad time in U.S. history. Everything's good. We're all together again. But now we got Democrats who are trying to hide their history, just going up and trying to destroy everything about history because they wanted to cover up that they were the party of slavery. That hurt them this election, too, because more people keep pushing that. You know, they keep pushing that they're for the minorities, and it was really pushed on a national level. Trump really pushed it. That it was the Democrats that were behind it. So now they got to go and hide it. But, you know, we never hear it. I would love to hear. If you want to get rid of these monuments because it so reminds you of racism, then let's do away with the Democrat Party ASAP. Because they were the actual party that backed slavery. So we should ban them immediately, like they're banning these statues. It's the same goddamn thing. In fact, the Democrats are more offensive than these statues because the Democrats are still doing the same as they did before. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. We will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.dailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Cap was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a live stream, just go to Reaver.one. That's REAVER.ONE, and click on the SHRTV button. Oh man, I'm stammering and stuttering. This whole and the left is trying its hardest to link all this to Donald Trump. I mean, you have Maxine Waters running her mouth, and they're calling for Steve Bannon to be fired immediately because he's supposed to be a well-known white supremacist leader. People are just running their fucking mouths. They don't even know what the fuck they're saying or talking about, but they're just out there running their mouths to run their mouths. It's just, but yeah, Maxine Waters. I'm trying to. Jim Acosta's running his mouth. Him and Trump have gone back and forth today, which is kind of funny. I think it's funny when those two go back and forth. Disgraceful from CB. Disgraced Dan Rather called Trump saying that it's taken too long to come to the point in his statement. They constantly they're going to pick on anything, and they're just going to keep hitting them and hitting them and hitting them. I don't know. It's a joke. It really is a joke anymore. But Jeff Sessions shut down NBC's attempt to associate Trump with neo-Nazis. Attorney General Jeff Sessions defied the establishment media's attempt to smear President Donald Trump using an article on the Daily Stormer neo-Nazi website. During an interview with Sessions, Craig Melvin, host of NBC Today, read verbatim from Daily Stormer article praising Trump for not condemning them by name during his statement on Saturday about the violent event in Charlotte, Virginia. Isn't that proof that the president didn't stand up sufficiently to white supremacists on Saturday, Marvin asked. They are simply attempting legitimate themselves in any way possible, Sessions replied. They're about to find out that we're coming after them for any violations of the law. Trump's said his administration condemned in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides, setting off critics who thought he should have condoned Nazis by name. It has no place in America, referring to hatred and bigotry displayed in Charlottesville, calling for a restoration of law and order. Now, I asked my wife, who is a registered Democrat, and she said, yeah, that was good enough for what he said. She understood what he meant by it. On Sunday, a White House official clarified the president's statement to answer critics. The president said very strongly in a statement yesterday that he condones all form of violence and bigotry and hatred. Of course, that includes white supremacists, KKK, neo-Nazis, and all extremist groups. Sessions defended Trump, pointing out that the president had condemned them by name in the past and would continue to do so. It was a good statement delivered just a few hours after the event, Sessions said. The next day, they explicitly called out Nazis and the KKK. And it's absolutely. Then, of course, you have Mad Max, Maxine Waters, tweet storm on Trump in Charlottesville. It's now the white supremacist house. Oh, my God. I wonder how many people it took to think that up. Maxine Waters blamed President Trump for the deadly clash between white supremacist protesters and anti-fascist counter-protesters over the planned removal of the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. In a series of tweets on Sunday, Waters warned people to be careful and called the White House the white supremacist house. Trump refuses to condemn white supremacists and terrorists who showed up in Charlottesville. Is he sending him a signal? Everyone must be careful. Trump, and it goes into the tweets, Trump has made it clear with Bannon and Gorka in the White House and the Klan in the streets, it is now the white supremacist house. Walters tweeted using the Charlottesville hashtag. Trump Waters also associated the president with former imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, David Duke. Trump claimed he didn't know David Duke, but Duke said white supremacist rally was done to fulfill Trump's promises. Do you know him now, Trump? Yeah, I mean, just get the fuck over it. They're trying to pick on every little goddamn thing. They have nothing on them, and it's pissing them off. It is pissing them off. And they got it, you know, trying to get it to stick, and it hasn't. CNN contributor, this one was sick. CNN contributor hurls racial epithets at a black Republican on air during a live broadcast on CNN on Monday. Democrat supporter Keith Boykin called into question the blackness of black Republican commentator Paris Denard. Mr. Denard, who serves as the director of black outreach in the George W. Bush White House, reacted with anger as Boykin attempted to race shame him. Hang on, I'm trying to pull up the damn soundbite. I think I do. Damn tablet. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Freaking hate that. Hit the wrong side and it starts downloading shit on me. Fire me. Go ahead and fire me. I'm behind the eight ball. Allegation of Uncle Tom behavior are often hurled by left-wing activists as a means to silence or shame minorities who lean conservative. Recently, the phenomenon spread to Muslims or ex-Muslims who find their political allegiance on the right of the political spectrum, despite the network's host earlier urging Ken Cucciolini to apologize for telling another contributor to shut up during discussion. Anchors Brooke Baldwin made no attempt to get Boykin to apologize for his on-air racism. Here, let's listen.
Go there, Paris, but the reality is that President Trump has not done enough, and I'm ashamed that you, as an African-American, Paris, will not say that.
Well, Keith, I don't need you to try to pull my black card. I am well aware of my blackness and don't need you to try to classify me as being one. I understand what racism is. Keith, don't go there. Do not go there. I know what it means to be a black man in this country. I know, and I experience racism on a regular basis by being a Trump supporter and by being a proud American who happens to be a Republican. I get racist comments. Let me finish. I get racist comments about my family, about my mother, about my girlfriend, about my character. Every single day, from mostly coming from black people, Keith, if you really want to get down to it. My family's from Georgia. Keith, let me finish. My family's from Georgia. We have members of our family that went missing because of the KKK taking them up. So don't come to me and tell me about what it means to be a black person in this country. I fought every day in the George W. Bush White House. Yes, Keith, let me finish. No. I won't calm down because I will not be attacked by you about my blackness because I happen to be a Republican and I listen to our president.
Harris, you're really going off the rails here.
I am going off the rails here. You have no ground and no respect to attack on my life.
You're obviously very sensitive and defensive about this issue.
You better watch your mouth. Get your guests under control.
Just a minute. Just please.
Get them under control. I will not come on the show and be disrespected and have my office.
You disrespect African Americans every day when you come on the show.
Hang on, please.
And you don't represent them at all. You don't represent 8% of the guys that voted for the
guys. You're the spokesperson.
Guys, I'm not your spokesperson. I have to be a black person who agrees with his president, and I'm proud that he stood up there and said what he said, denouncing the Klan, denouncing David Booth like he did in March, and denouncing
He was forced to do it. It took him
He wasn't forced to do it. He was not forced to do it.
Take that conversation, have it off camera. I really would like to have a substantive conversation about.
Yeah, but you better watch how he talks about me too.
I understand.
Paris, shut up, please, for God's sake. Why?
Okay, so you gonna let him call me to tell me to shut up?
No.
It was a meltdown. Don't tell me to shut up on the show. This is preposterous, and you know it.
Guys, please respect. Give me a minute, Joe. I know you've been listening to all of this. I know your eyebrows have been raising. How do you view how the president, as a conservative, as a beloved member of the Republican Party, we've talked at length about that. How you're listening to the president, listening to this conversation on the show. This is where we are now. Country.
I think that the reality is that this is where we've been at as a nation for a very long time.
Sure.
So I don't think that this is necessarily something that is new. I think that for a lot of Americans, they're just finally.
But it's funny how he told him to shut up, and there's nothing but earlier in the day, they made a conservative apologize for saying shut up. I love the double standards. The liberal can say and do whatever the fuck they want, but they go after conservatives all they want. All they want. And we have to apologize, but they never do. They could say whatever the hell they want. That was racism. That was just racism right there. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the left going on and just... They're able to say whatever they want. Everybody else has to walk on eggshells. Well, you know what? Fuck them. I don't walk on eggshells around them anymore, and I haven't for a very long time. Oh, we're getting very close to the end of the show. Oh. It is. This whole thing, I honestly just think it's all set up. I think it was set up by Democrats. They need a new talking point. Russia's falling apart. They won't admit it's falling apart. They just want it to, go away. When it goes away, then they can just claim nothing ever happened. They can ignore it. So CNN has ditched its polling firm of more than 10 years amidst fake news charges. 10 years. It parted ways this week with its longtime polling firm, ORC International. ORC Chief Marketing Officer confirmed that CNN did not renew their polling contract with ORC International. The polling firm worked with CNN since 2006 and had continued their partnership after the 2016 presidential election until late April. We are thankful of the opportunity we had to partner with CNN in the past and wish them well in the future polling work. That was Mackie Sim told Politico. We have no further comment at this time. CNN has instead decided to switch to a major survey research firm, SSRS. Executive Vice President and Chief Methodologist of SSRS, David Dudwin, said CNN came to its firm first to bring up the possibility of working together. At the end of the day, suffice it to say they were unhappy with something. Well, the fake news that they've been pushing, they got a lot of work to do, not just polling firms. They got a lot of work to do. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for the show. Don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. Everybody, have a great day. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.